These guys, bees. They're eating bees, literally. And I'm the crazy one.
So they're in with these bankers and former presidents.
Yes.
And some guy brings over something that it's an effigy that's supposed to be a body.
Yeah.
And then they drop it on the fire. And they're all worshiping an owl god.
The first time I really came over here, I had a whole bunch of weird paranoid suspicions about what the hell was going on, because there was a lot of stuff I couldn't understand.
Right.
And nobody was really bothering to explain it to me.
They don't.
And and I formed a bunch of opinions about the town and about the people in it.
Oprah is a slave trader. Oprah is a slave trader. Let that sink in. It's 100% true. Oprah Winfrey is a slave trader. Why do you think she has that school in South Africa?
A happy member of the Bohemian Grove. I like the folks who come there, and it's really inappropriate for me to talk about the group beyond that. Thank you.
Have you been there for the ceremony with the cremation of care?
Frankly, I don't think that's something I need to talk to you about. This is what's called ambush journalism, and I disrespect you for that as well. So thank you and goodbye.
Been in the ritual?
It's none of your damn business.
Mel Gibson just sent everyone into a frenzy after he finally opened up about what he saw at the Bohemian Grove ritual back in the year 2000. And yes, all your favorite celebrities were there too, indulging in that satanic mess. These people were reportedly naked while these rituals were being performed. And according to new reports, the red fluid was harvested to facilitate it. The locals who stayed around where the grove happened backed all the allegations too.
Now they sacrificed to him and stuff. The only one that we know about the big ritual there is they have that big owl statue, and they burn an effigy for the cremation of care.
Yeah.
Do you think they're burning out there?
I think they have, possibly in the past.
Well,
Now, for those of y'all who are unfamiliar with the Bohemian Grove, it's a place where the elites of Alight gather every year mid-July for a celebration on a 2,700-acre private campground in Monte Rio, California, to worship and perform rituals for a 40-foot-tall owl made of concrete. For the longest time, it's been rumored that this is a cult meeting of the world's most elite and powerful men, including your favorite celebrities, powerful CEOs, and even retired presidents. Now, the ritual itself is wrapped up as a festival with over 2,500 guests. Still, it's been alleged by a lot of insiders that there is a small group of people inside those 2,500 people who have their own private ritual while everyone else is out there grooving.
Know anything about the Bohemian Grove?
I worked there before, yeah.
You worked there? Whoa, what did you see?
A lot of things that I cannot talk about.
Actually?
Yeah.
Would you give us, theoretically, what might you have seen if someone were to work there?
I cannot talk about that.
Did you sign a document?
Nope, that I cannot talk about.
Did you partake in anything?
Have a wonderful day, sir.
Okay, wow.
Please be careful, okay?
Be careful.
Oh, and don't even get me started on all the symbolism throughout the entire thing that connects the groove to some serious satanic stuff. And when it comes to the actual process of the ritual itself, it gets even creepier. According to reports from people who managed to sneak in, the ritual starts as soon as the sun goes down. Multiple men wearing long, hooded robes in the colors red, blue, and orange literally walk out of the trees carrying burning torches. They then proceed to walk slowly down to the lake and put out their torches. A man dressed like an old boat guy pushes a small boat across the dark water. In the boat is a big doll called Dulcare. This doll stands for all the worries and bad feelings people have. Now, mind you, while all this is going on, no cameras are allowed. And girl, they are very strict about this rule, for multiple reasons. First of all, you have powerful and famous people walking around naked while performing this unusual ritual. And second, it's also been rumored that this ritual involved them sacrificing spirits, literally taking their life. Of course, they don't want anyone sneaking in there with a camera. And remember that giant 40-foot-tall owl I mentioned earlier? Well, apparently, It's an old god from the Bible who liked adolescents being burned in fire. That is why you see pyramid eyes and owl signs in songs and movies by stars tied to these men. It's been alleged by a lot of people that the reason they burn the doll is so that the rich guys burn their good hearts, so they can do evil stuff with no guilt. It is like a promise to dark powers for more money and control. Oh, and in case you're wondering how the public even got to know this much about this ritual in the first place, well, it all goes back to 2000, when a man called Alex Jones sneaked in with a hidden camera and filmed the entire thing and posted it online. The video was titled "Dark Secrets Inside Bohemian Grove," and as expected, it blew up. Now, of course, this was in 2000, and social media was nothing close to what it is now. So it was easy for the elites to get a hold of the video and wipe it off the internet. But still, some people had bits and pieces of it that they had saved, and they started posting amidst this Epstein stuff coming out. Anyway, this whole thing got a lot of people talking, with some people even saying that the Bohemian Grove is where the elites plan big world events, including wars and pandemics. Word on the street is that during a ritual in the 1940s, they talked about making the first atom bomb right at the Grove. Some think that it started the plan for wars, as well as picking the people who get to run for office. In fact, a list just recently got leaked with over 2,200 names, and it had the names of everyone you can think of. This included people like Conan O'Brien, Michael Bloomberg, ex-Google CEO Eric Schmidt, Paul Pelosi, Jimmy Buffett, Charles Koch, Henry Kissinger, Clint Eastwood, and Justice Clarence Thomas. And just when we thought things couldn't get any worse, people dragged Mel Gibson into this, claiming that this was what he was trying to warn us about when he made Sound of Freedom. The movie exposed the world of CT, where under 18-year-olds were basically kidnapped from their parents, sometimes even bought from them. From there, they are forced into inappropriately pleasing older people. The crazy thing about this movie is that even though it had such a great message behind it, the industry pushed back on it so hard and almost stopped it from getting released altogether.
Why is the media hating this movie?
You know, I can't understand it. The film was made, produced, written like 5 years, 6 years ago, way before anyone heard the name QAnon. I still don't even know what QAnon is. In the meantime, they're trying to connect it to some conspiracy when, in fact, like you said, this is a true story. These are real kids. I mean, these friends, they're young adults now, the ones that were rescued. They're going to come out soon and tell their story. It's going to be very awkward when the mainstream media comes after these kids next and accuses them of being part of some conspiracy when, in fact, they were rescued from a life of... It's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen in the media, perhaps.
I mean, this publication says The Sound of Freedom is a superhero movie for dads with brainworms, and that it fetishizes the torture of its child victims. Is that what the movie does?
It absolutely does not do that.
The whole place can't be like, Weird Town, where the stranger wanders in and all the people are in the bar and they all shut up when he looks at them and they tell you don't go into the house on the hill, and it's like that. And then you go away and you think, no, I was wrong. I mean, that's insane thinking. I'm paranoid. I imagined that stuff. That couldn't be the reason for why so-and-so was acting like. Could it? And then you find out later on the track that you were exactly on track with a lot of...
Now, when it comes to the exact celebrities that were found at the Bohemian Grove, people are convinced that a few names were left out, and that includes Bill Gates. Bill Gates went from denying Epstein to getting exposed for being in the files, even getting exposed for catching an STI from one of the girls, which he gave to his wife, and then finally admitting that he indeed knew him.
Saying he could get them to give money to Global Health. In retrospect, that was a dead end, and I was foolish to spend time with him. I was one of many people who regret ever knowing him.
You've no doubt seen the allegations, including some of them from the last 24 to 48 hours. Are they true?
No, apparently Jeffrey wrote an email to himself. That email was never sent. The email is, false. So I don't know what his thinking was there. It just reminds me, every minute I spent with him, I regret and I, apologize that I did that.
The problem is some of the things that he has sent and some of the information about other people that has come up in those files has been true. Why would he do this and say this about you, do you think?
It's factually true that I was only at dinners. I never went to the island. I never met any women. And so, the more that comes out, the more clear it'll be that although the time was a mistake, it had nothing to do with that kind of behavior.
The emails in the files suggest that Bill Gates had additional affairs and that he tried to get medication to treat a sexually transmitted infection, and that he was going to give you the medicine without you knowing. His representative has said all of this is false. It is not on you to have to respond to the details of that alleged behavior, but I wonder what your dominant emotion is when you read these news articles with these details.
Sad. Just unbelievable sadness. Unbelievable sadness, right? And again, I'm able to take my own sadness and look at those young girls and say, my God, how did that happen to those girls, right? And so for me, it's just sadness for, I left my marriage. I had to leave my marriage. I wanted to leave my marriage. I had to leave I felt I needed to eventually leave the foundation. So it's just sad. That's the truth.
Anyway, moving on. Prince Andrew has also been a major suspect, and after finding out his connection to Epstein, it all honestly adds up. He was at every Epstein party having the time of his life with him and Ghislaine Maxwell. He was even caught being in contact with Epstein in 2010 when he was on house arrest, and even forwarding confidential documents to him. These included his official trip itineraries to Singapore, Vietnam, Shenzhen, and Hong Kong, full aid visit reports within minutes of receiving them, and a secret briefing on Helmand, high-value commercial opportunities for foreign investment in Afghanistan. And don't even get me started on the multiple SA lawsuits that he was slapped with, too.
He asked me to dance. He is the most hideous dancer I've ever seen in my life. I mean, it was horrible, and this guy was sweating all over me. Like, his sweat was like, it was raining basically everywhere, and I was just like, grossed out from it. But I knew I had to keep him happy because that's what Jeffrey and Ghislaine would expect from me. The people on the inside are going to keep coming up with these ridiculous excuses, like his arm was elongated, or the photo was doctored, or he came to New York to break up with Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, come on. I'm calling BS on this because that's what it is. He knows what happened. I know what happened. And there's only one of us telling the truth. And I know that's me.
And then there's Jay-Z and Chris Tucker. Chris was already exposed a while back, but Jay-Z's name being in there was definitely a shocker. He had the internet in chaos for weeks, and Beyoncé has been working overtime to make sure this doesn't hurt either of them. Jay-Z got named in the files after an anonymous victim identified him, but his fans were claiming there's no way he was mixed up with Epstein because the alleged incident went down in 1996, and in 1996, he was just starting as a rapper in Hollywood. The victim said she woke up in a room with Weinstein and Jay-Z, with Weinstein violating her. And supposedly, Pusha T was the handler who facilitated all this. Now, even though people say Jay was too new in the industry to be connected to these elites, that's actually not the full story. Yeah, he was a fresh face in the rap game in 1996, but that doesn't mean he didn't already have industry ties. Those are two totally different things. Actually, based on how Jay-Z was moving and rising so strategically back in '96 as a so-called newcomer, there are also videos of him with Weinstein where it genuinely looks like Weinstein is his handler or something.
In your thoughts on Donald Trump and what it means for what it means for mass incarceration?
You know what? This is a labor of love for Jay, and as a result, he's my friend. We're here to talk about that and nothing else.
Well, then can I ask you about mass incarceration? And do you think the movement is...
Now, when it comes to Chris Tucker, he's been working overtime trying to clear his name by saying he was only on those flight logs for a humanitarian trip to Africa, focused on AIDS awareness and charity work. Mind you, former President Bill Clinton was also on that trip. And if you've seen the Epstein files, then you already know Bill was up to some shady stuff. Hell, people are even saying he might have caught some of those infections too.
You knew Jeffrey Epstein, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. We flew Bill Clinton and a lot of different. That was a humanitarian trip to Africa, and I met him on that trip because it was his plane. I didn't know who plane we was getting on, but it was a whole bunch of dignitary people. We was with a delegation, and yeah, I met him, and And, you know, you don't know people, what they do in their private lives. So, yeah.
But tell me this, Chris. You was on this private plane, and you could tell that it was a private plane because they called it, was it Lolita Express?
Oh, yeah, it was a private plane. Yes. Oh, yes.
But wait a minute. You didn't never go to that island, did you?
No.
As usual, people had their thoughts, like this person who said, "These satanic worshipping elites torch owls in the woods while plotting to enslave the rest of us. Conan, Bloomberg, Schmidt, Pelosi's hubby, Koch, Kissinger's Corpse Club, Eastwood, Thomas, all degenerate occult freaks sacrificing America on their pagan altar." Another person said, "Imagine Conan O'Brien, a 7-foot ginger with a massive elvish face, attempting to disguise himself in one of those creepy masquerade costumes for the sacrifice to Moloch. Talk about embarrassing." But now I want to know your thoughts. What do you think about the Bohemian Grove members eating with under 18-year-olds? And do you really believe the allegations Mel Gibson is making? Let me know your thoughts. And don't forget to click here to watch this other messy video.